I'm Robin Clevitt, welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me and thank you for subscribing. If you're a new subscriber recently, I really appreciate having you here and I hope that you enjoy my content. And if you haven't seen some of my previous stuff, have a look on the channel, check the video box and you'll get all of the previous stuff, going right back to when I just used to go a selfie stick, mobile phone, and it was all a bit mad. But anyway, I often get asked about adhesives, and one particular adhesive I get asked about is for gluing back MDF skirtings and MDF architraves and other panels. Now, I have tried absolutely everything over the years, and I've been out this morning and I've just got a selection from one supplier. So this is a cross section of what's available. Now there are hundreds, and this is not an exaggeration, hundreds of products that claim to do the same thing. So we're going to take a look at what I've got to show you. We're going to test them all, very simple test, and then I'm going to reveal to you what type of adhesive is my go-to adhesive for doing this very job. So here's my contenders for my little test, and I'm going to start with the one at the end, which is called Grip Feel Solvent Free, and that is one that a lot of people use. It's very popular. Then there's a new one I've not tried yet called Grip Feel Extra. It's an instant grip high strength adhesive. Then there's your traditional classic Grip Feel. That was the go-to adhesive. I think that was like one of the very first adhesives that we sort of started using on site. And then there's one called Gunner Nail. And there's lots of products which use the nail in their title. Look at the one next to it called Instant Nails. And then moving on, we've got something called Stixel, then Multi-Stick, and then Pink Grip. So it's a real confusion when you're faced with these kinds of products. Now, there are so many variables when considering adhesive. So I've got in here freshly plastered walls. Now the walls in here are a spray plaster. They're not dissimilar to a gypsum-based plaster, but they're quite absorbent. Most plasters are. And the first thing is you want to really make sure everything's dried out nicely. Some of these adhesives, if there's any moisture in the wall, it will just peel off. So what I'm going to do is cut the nozzles on all of these virtually the same size. I'm going to then cut some equal offcuts of material, and we're going to bond them to this plasterboard. We're going to leave them there, and then we're just going to simply try and peel them off in a good few hours time. Well, in fact, I might leave them for 24 hours, which is a good test, because some of the adhesives just say, you know, leave them for 24 hours. So I've got 8 pieces of MDF skirting. They're all exactly the same size. I've cut them to a stop. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make the same size bead on every one of these glues and adhesives. I think that's probably the fairest way to go. So I'm just going to use around about a 5mm bead. And then we're going to bond them on and forget about them. There we go, back in your stations where you belong. It's like a game of Skittles. We can have a game of Skittles later. Imagine coming up with all these names for these brands. I mean, there's just, you've never seen so many brands. So let's just check they all look the same sort of size. That one could be a tiny bit bigger. That one could be a teeny weeny bit bigger. Right, so I'll get my applicator gun and I shall go for it. So of all of these glues, we're going to just do 2 lines of that bead, get them going. Let's just run 2 beads and we'll put that straight on there like that. Now we're moving on. That one there, this one here is really wet, if you like. It's really soft. Now here's the the old favourite, grip fill, used to be used for everything. Now these ones, you have to just burst the end open or punch them with a knife. There you go. That's bursted the end open. Let's go for that. You can smell the difference between them. Obviously this is a bit stronger. There we go. Put that one on. And to the extra. Oh, he's gone like a madman, that one. You can poke a nail in the top, but if you do that, the excess air comes out the back and it doesn't keep squeezing out, which is quite a nice thing. Well, this feels nice. I've not actually used this before. That feels good. Well, we've got a bit of slippage. One of them's giving us a bit of slippage. I think that's really interesting, and we shall leave that to do its slipping. But I will tell you a little bit about some of these adhesives and what I've found over the years to be the best way to actually use them. So we're now on to gunner now. Let's see how this feels. It's a bit stiffer. Well, it looks like cork. It looks like decorator's cork. It's very white. I'll give that one a go. I'll tell you what's quite useful. You can see we got some serious slippage going on there. Instant nails. Nice consistency, that one. Beautiful, no struggle to get that out of the tube. But it is quite, let me see, let's put that on there. Okay, Stixel, here we go. Put these out of the way. Some Stixel. Okay. That's a nice in the middle consistency, that one, I'd say. Oh, it's got a bit of grab. I can feel that one grabbing away. Moving on to the multi-stick. We've got something slipping. We mustn't let this slip, guys. On to the multi-stick. Oh, let's have a little look. Oh, that is a really nice consistency, that one. That's almost like you could pipe a cake with that. Okay, let's bang them on. Again, that one's, you can literally feel that one doing its stuff. And then to the old favourite, the pink. Moving on to the pink. Okay. So. This is the pink. I burst that one first. Again, this is one of the ones that you either pop a nail in or burst. There we go. Let that come through. There we go. This is my favourite colour, of course. Not. And that's that. Right, let's pop that one on as well. There we go. Right, so as you can see, most of them have got a really good grab. You know, they're holding up and they're not moving anywhere apart from the grip fill. You can see that there, it's on the move. Now, if you've used a lot of this stuff before, one of the main things I find with grip fill is the fact that if you're doing a large run or a tool board or a large run and you put it on the back of the board, by the time you actually get it in position, sometimes this is skinned, okay? When I say skinned, this is skinned here. I can touch that and it's just not sticking to me, right? And that can be a bit of an issue. So what I'm gonna do is, they then say if it does skin, you push it on and you rip it off. So you put it on, you give it some of this, and then you pull it off. You can see it. And that's now livened that up again. And then when you put it back together, you're putting two adhesive surfaces together. All right, so for that instance, I'm just going to tell you that with the others. All the others have held up. The grip fill extra is on the move, but not as much as the grip fill. Now we're going to leave all those now. and we're going to come back and we're going to pull them all off at some point. So they've all been here for 24 hours. I've been home, chilled out, and now I'm back. So I'm gonna just take them off. Now I suppose this example on a bit of plasterboard, which is a perfect substrate, I would say, is probably gonna be a little bit unfair. It would have been really nice to have had some freshly plastered walls. But anyway, this should give us a good indication. And what I'm looking for is I'm just gonna literally try to get a chisel behind and see how easy they come off. So starting at this end with the grit fill solvent free, if we just get, oh well, you can see that one, it just fell off effectively. So that one there, and that's exactly what it does normally. It's very powdery. You can sort of see this, it sort of just turns, it's a bit like a cork really. It's really powdery. So that one is there. Came off really easy, that one. It's adhered well to the board, but it hasn't adhered well to the primer on the back of this. Now, I would say that's because this is a water-based primer. This is very watery. It's probably it's water-based, it's solvent-free. That's gone into that. It's sort of wetted down that primer. It's gone off, sucked the life out of it, and it's just fallen off. Now, let's go on to the normal standard green grit fill. This is the one that did the slipping. Doesn't mean to say it's going to be weak, but we'll give that a go as well and see exactly how that goes off. And actually that feels like it's just popping off as well. But you will see that it has adhered, so it's actually pulled the front of the board off. Another interesting thing, being solvent based, it's bled through that and it's actually got into the gypsum behind. So that wasn't too bad. But the downside of that was obviously that initial slippage. So then we're going on to the extra, which should be all singing and all dancing. And let's have a look at this. You can, oh, I can hear that really holding that one. Oh, that is going to be, oh yeah, let's have a little look at that. Now that's a good bond, that is. That's really, the adhesive's really penetrated through. It's actually got into the gypsum behind, it's taken the paper off, and it's got itself well and truly stuck there. So that's interesting. Now we're going on to gunner nail. Okay, let's have a little look at that one. Okay, let's have a look at that. Now this is very similar to the first grit fill, you can see there, look. In fact, it has bonded itself nicely to the paper, but the back of the board, it's bled into the primer, if you like, and it's sort of said to itself, I'm not going to stick very well to this. And again, let me have a quick look at that, but that has got no smell to it. It's probably, let me see, it's probably a water-based too, but anyway, that's by the by. Let's go on to the instant nails now, and we'll do the same trick. There we go. So, not bad. Again, similar issue with the primer here, but it has worked, it has got through, it has got into the gypsum behind. So that's not a bad result for that one. Not bad at all. Now we're going on to the Stixel Extreme Power. Oh, it sounds good. That sounds real good. Oh yeah, I mean, bear in mind I only had 2 lines of adhesive on every single one, same size bead. They just got pushed back with the same amount of pressure. I didn't go to any other, you know, fuss than that. And that one there has done pretty well there. Okay, on to the multi-stick now. Let's have a little look at that. Oh, this is certainly on there, that one. Oh, this is, again, that's a good result. That has definitely done what it's meant to do. It's got through this paper substrate. The adhesive, it's almost bleeding through. Every example that you can see there, bleeding through and pulling back to the gypsum behind, which I think is fantastic. And now on to the pink grip. Let's have a look at that. And again, a fairly good result with that as well. So you can see the difference between some of these adhesives actually holding on to the primer behind. You can see this one's really hard to get off the primer. Let's just run back along the lineup and see just how good some of these others are. I mean, this one here, for example, that's definitely well bonded to that primer as well. So you've seen an example of where the water-based ones or the solvent-free ones have not really held, but some of the others, the adhesive, whether it's a solvent, has got into it and it's held it. Now, I'm going to reveal the one I like to use, or there's a couple here actually I like to use, and they're polymers. So we look at this one and we look at this one. All right, both of these, this one especially, says it can be applied to wet surfaces. So if you have got damp plaster, sometimes the plaster appears dry, but it's still going off, to be fair. It takes a while, especially if it's on a plaster background like hardwall or something like that. There's still a little bit of moisture in there. But this one here is pretty good. This is the one I would definitely get. It's a bigger tube and you get a lot of life out of it. This is a polymer, all right? And polymers are fairly new, but widely used now. And this is also a hybrid polymer. So I suppose what I'm saying is try these hybrid polymers. They seem to work with loads of different backgrounds. The others are doing the job, some better than others, but I just think that this is a fairly good indication of the different adhesives available just from one supplier. I went to one supplier and I didn't take everything they had, I just took a bit of a selection here. So I hope that's helped, and I will see you soon. Keep up the good work.